To me, what they're hinting at the most, right, is like this Cable who has come back through time at my guy, an hour earlier, really. Just
He
for some
can't
time
really control it.
Okay, well, let's work on that technology.
Sometimes he time travels by accident.
It's true. You can't control it.
He just can't get his watch up.
I can't get my space cube to do what I want it to do, okay? Welcome back to the Breakroom. X-Men 97 is just past the midway point for its first season, and we have more questions than we have answers. Like, where's the season going? Did Leech kill Magneto? And will we ever get our baby Cajun Gambit back? Hit that lingering questions graphic and let's dive into it, folks. That's right. I'm Brandon Barrick, and joining me today, she once stood in line for 8 hours to get the latest Nintendo console. It's Gina Ippolito.
I think we're in a video game right now.
Oh, yeah?
I got sucked in 8 years ago, so either you guys are figments of my imagination or things went horribly wrong.
I gotta say, buy a lot of microtransactions in this video game. Constantly, every day.
Nice.
Always spending money on stuff. And he just canceled his summer plans for a weekend in Genosha. It's Eric Owusu.
Hey, internet. Bonsoir, mon amis.
Au revoir, Gambit.
No, he's coming back. I know it.
Oh, Gambit will come back. We should just, the voice actor for Gambit's very active on Twitter. We should just have him up on the line.
He'll tell us.
Be like, you recorded more lines, right?
Come on the show.
He's like, I'm in the booth right now.
He's being very coy about it all, though.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, what's wrong with you? I'm just kidding. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're also taking questions from our live Twitch chat. So check us out on Twitch where we do these videos live and you can chat with us and we'll answer your questions or we'll ignore your questions. Both experience equally fun. Before we get into our questions for today, how have you two felt about the series so far? Is it meeting expectations?
It's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I will
I
will hunt down and kill anyone who says otherwise.
You just saw the eclipse too. Better than that. Huh?
No, I stayed in and rewatched all of X-Men instead of watching the Eclipse.
No.
You watched the X-Men Spider-Man crossover in the 90s.
Yeah. I wore Eclipse glasses while I did it, though.
Nice. I love it. This is what I tell people to watch if they've been like teetering on giving up on Marvel.
Sure.
Lately. I'm like, yo, 97 is it. It'll bring you back. It's so good.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the house the other day watching this week's episode like,
this episode ends so sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah. I threw myself from my balcony. I was fine. I live on the second floor. So.
Oh, okay.
And this is a video game, right? You just use a second
yeah.
life?
Yes.
Respawn.
Yes. You only lost this much of your health bar.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's really good. I think I enjoy some episodes of What If, but this is like a much better production overall.
Yeah.
And even like this episode, when it started, I was like, this will be a fun little cute Genosha hijinks or whatever. And then by the end, you're like, holy crap, what are they doing to me?
Listen, I love What If. I think a lot of the appeal of What If is like, it's like going to a state fair and getting like a chicken in the middle of two donuts surrounded by two burger patties. You're like, this is like a novelty.
This is great for 1 hour.
Whereas I think you weren't sure where I was going.
I love the analogy, but I didn't know where it was going.
Listen, you go to the fair, you get yourself a chicken.
I was like, I'm on board.
Yeah, go to the fair, stuff
Then
some
you go
Snickers
to the tunnel of love with that chicken. You hear me out?
I love a whole chicken between my two donuts.
It's a novelty. What If is a novelty? And like,
you get a big old wiener between two buns.
Hey, yo.
What If is a wiener between two buns? X-Men 97 is a lovely spaghetti meal that you want to eat every day.
Oh, okay.
They're equally unhealthy.
I was really into the Twitch chat for a second, and I tuned back in, and it
everyone
was like, what is going on?
Good. He won't be able to give those time codes to Brian.
Yep. We love producer Evan so much.
Evan, what do you think of the show so far?
I really, really liked it. As someone who's like kind of gone into X-Men a little bit later in life, as people of the show may know, I was afraid of X-Men for a really long time. Growing up, the first thing I saw of X-Men was that scene where Anna Paquin's Rogue saps out the energy from a boy that she was kissing, and I was like, can I never kiss anybody?
Never kiss.
And you never have.
I never have.
Never kiss.
So, I'm really, really into all this. I had gotten into X-Men via the Krakoan comics, and I've been really cool to see how much this show is just so great. From animation to storytelling, all the emotional beats. just incredible.
Voice acting, hell yeah.
Voice acting, yeah.
And I wouldn't knock any of these episodes. I mean, for half the season,
Yeah.
like it's been great. So I'm very excited to see how it's going to
No
wrap
filler
up.
yet.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And like even something, you know, I think something that like the Motendo, which had some cuteness to it,
Yeah.
was still like heavy and had like great fight sequences and like was fun.
We got to see grown-up Jubilee. I've
Yeah.
never seen grown Jubilee.
Voiced
This
by
set?
original Jubilee.
So
which was
fun.
one of the coolest parts.
And I think even there, they were like, oh, we've got like 20 minutes here. So we'll tack on like another 10 minutes of like Storm's storyline, which is like fun and very interesting.
That Storm storyline was brutal though.
Dude, that's heavy stuff
Hell of
too.
a reveal. Yeah.
I know. It's like, is there a death bird living outside my window?
Every day. Those are just morning doves, Gina. Don't worry. Don't worry. I know, sad. That's
Got it. That's a cut for the real heads. Okay, let's move on to the.
That's life. The crows have to eat too, okay?
That's true. Edgar Allan Poe told us.
Yeah.
He told us. Oh, no,
That's
the
true.
Sorry, nevermore.
Let's dive into our first big question that we have so far at this point, and this actually comes from one of our YouTube viewers, Sphinx God Juju 3612. They ask, where's the Brotherhood? Why didn't they join the X-Men the same time Magneto did? And by Brotherhood, I assume they mean the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yeah.
Nah, you mean where all the black X-Men at? Where's the Brotherhood, man? We need more Big Bishop that got sent off to the future.
Yeah, they got
we
him
need
out
the
of
Brotherhood. We need Blade. We need Bishop. I can't think of any other black mutants right now, but we need them.
They took away Storm's powers. Ridiculous.
Had to be the black woman taking a shot for the white man. No, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this bit.
Evan, I see in the script it says Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Did you write that?
Yeah, I think there was a slight distinction, at least from the animated series,
Yeah.
where the Brotherhood of Mutants was like the society in the future, I think, in Cable's timeline.
Oh,
potentially.
okay.
I can't remember.
I've only ever known them as I've never heard the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
I think they started as the Brotherhood of Mutants, and then like because they were usually doing ill.
They gave themselves that?
Yeah, they were like
That's bad branding, folks.
Ad street card. In the original series, we saw they would crop up from time to time, usually like led by Mystique, who
Yeah.
at some points was like working for Apocalypse or whoever.
And this is, to be clear, this is like Toad.
Juggernaut.
In the original series, in the
Juggernaut,
original
yeah.
animated series, it was mostly Avalanche, Pyro, Blob. Like those were you would see Mystique, and they were like kind of portrayed as like idiots. Like
Yeah,
they were,
yeah.
they were like Pyro was just like, oh, what do we do? And I'm
Oh,
gonna
crikey,
light you on
gonna
fire."
burn
And
this
then,
place
like,
to the ground.
Yeah, and then like someone would like throw him through a wall and be like, oh my god. And then Mystique would be like, God, I shouldn't have posted this job on Craigslist. How did I end up
Working
here?
with Mutants.
But I mean, a lot of people think like we haven't seen Mystique yet because of a very
where's
specific
Mystique?
reason that she's someone that we've already seen. So it is possible that she was like, "Hey, idiots! Like, go away, or you're gonna give up my location.
You're ruining things, you morons. Get out of here.
Stop hanging around." Yeah, she just like put them up at a Motel 6 so they wouldn't ruin her plans for a month.
I always forget that Pyro, when I'm reading the comics, is Australian.
Yeah.
Because they try and write his speech bubbles with like an accent. So when you're at home, you have to be like, oh, I have to put an accent on this in your head when you're reading. Oh, I gotta get these.
Are his speech bubbles in the comics the shape of a boomerang? Like,
No,
what do you
they're,
mean?
they're upside down and backwards. No, they just, you can tell sometimes when they're trying to write an accent in
Yeah.
someone,
It's
the
like
way
italics.
someone speaks.
Boy.
Or it's like a word that's been shortened and there's like an apostrophe at a weird spot. And it's like, oh, that's right, I have to put like an accent on this.
He doesn't say no. He says nar.
Nar. Yeah, but I am wondering where everyone is because they're not dead.
No.
Maybe they're imprisoned.
I
Some time has happened since the finale and like of the original series
Yeah.
when this
Yeah.
show started.
it's possible. I think we will see them. I think the fact that they're
Just
not there
hiding.
means like that they're up to something.
Yeah.
That they're up to no good.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd see him like on Genosha being like kind of like how like Krakoa in the comics had like an amnesty period. It's
I mean,
like
we saw some baddies there. There was.
I mean,
some members of
Exodus
the
was there.
Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
Members of the Hellfire Club hanging out with Morlocks, hanging out with like
Getting along.
morally questionable people. We're still around. Also, there's probably so many thruples on that island that like maybe the Brotherhood's all in a big orgy somewhere on Genosha.
I believe it.
but they're so stupid. It's just them. They didn't mix with anybody else. But it's like we should have got other people for this orgy. What were we thinking?
Yeah, it's like when like theater
Oh,
kids.
crikey, get your thumb out of me asshole.
Like, we could have totally done this in Cincinnati. Like,
Yeah, right.
we didn't have to come
We
to
have to,
Genosha.
we have to come to Genosha to have an orgy with each other.
I don't know why I said Cincinnati. Westchester.
Apologies to Cincinnati.
Big mutant.
Big orgy town. Big orgy town. It's the chili.
So do you think, just to kind of wrap this question, do you think we see anyone from the Brotherhood at all besides Mystique?
Mystique's my number one.
Yeah.
We did see morph into the Blob.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not a real
I think
appearance.
we'll see all of them. I think we'll see Pyro, Avalanche.
I think after the events of this last episode, Magneto is going to be like, you know what? Fuck this shit. And he's going to call up the old Brotherhood and be like, listen, idiots.
It's time for one last job.
Yeah.
I'm back, baby.
We're the evil Brotherhood of Mutants again.
Just when I thought I was out, the evil Brotherhood of Mutants
Pulling me
sucks
back in,
baby.
Speaking of the Brotherhood, right, we had several people in the comments mention that Leech may have been sapping Magneto's powers.
Yeah, this theory makes no sense to me.
Yeah. So in the episode, we have an image of it, like right as the Sentinels really blasting away at these Morlocks. Leech is hugging almost fully shirtless Magneto.
Yeah.
Look at those pecs, baby. And there's a theory that like, oh, Leech is like sapping his powers.
Yeah, to hide him from the Sentinel, because the Sentinel is basically like Omega level threat detected.
Right.
And it's like, look, there's Magneto, he's a mutant. And then if Leech sapped his powers, they wouldn't register him as a mutant.
Right.
Which, like, I've got a lot of problems with these theories. I got a lot of problems with you people.
That's too much thinking.
Also, Leech is a terrified kid
Yeah.
clutching onto the person who just saved him. There's no way his little brain is going to be like, all right, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to sap his... And also, he's also surrounded by, like, 6 other mutants. There's no way to, like, be like, hey, let's hide. Let's hide from this guy who's, like, looking directly at us. And then they get blasted anyway. I'm calling it now. This doesn't work.
Yeah. Because it's also... Leech isn't just like, it's not like Rogue where it's touch. Leech is like, if you're near Leech,
Right.
Yeah.
he kind of like saps your powers. He's like learned how to like not do it.
I mean, even in the original, he could do it at will, because he says to Cyclops, like, Leech help you see better. And he's like, yeah, I took away your powers. So he can do it on command. I just think this doesn't make any sense unless he was touching all of them and the Sentinels were like, where's that mutant dad?
Could he have been doing it on an accident and like, oopsie?
Like how you poop yourself when you're scared.
Oops, oops, all leeches?
Yeah, oops, all leeches. Ugh. He could have been doing it accidentally, and then Magneto can't hold the bubble anymore, and they all die.
I'm with Gina on this one. I think Leech wasn't doing that. I think Magneto did the magnetism shield for as long as he could, or chose to disintegrate it when he did.
We also don't know if they're dead. We don't really know because... I mean, we got this trailer for the rest of the season, and clearly Magneto's still there. But he's alive. We don't know about the rest of the Morlocks that were in the bubble with him. But I feel like something happened, and he was like, we're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories about what it could be.
No body, no death, right?
Yeah.
No body, no death.
Because we saw Nightcrawler teleport someone out of the way of a blast and catch a little bit of himself, so something like that could have happened.
Yeah, there's also like, I've seen the theory of like maybe magic teleported them to limbo at the last second or something. I mean, I do think they'll come back to life by some means.
Sure, I think there'll be a lot of rebirth happening on this show.
Oh,
it was all a dream.
It was all a dream, a terrible nightmare. So speaking of all these like deaths we don't see and deaths we do see, what about Gambit? Like, this isn't the last we see of Gambit, and I'm not counting like flashbacks.
Yeah,
I mean like a Gambit will return.
Yeah, I will say I follow both. Like, I've seen AJ Locasio on Twitter and people being like, I'm so sad. And he's being very coy. Yeah. And then also, like, the Bo DeMeo account has been like, he's dead. And then people are like, I'm so sad. And he's like, but just wait. And I'm like, oh, that's sort of like you're implying
but even,
that, like, he's gonna come back.
The wrestling fan in me represents the wink we all do as an audience with something like this, where it's like, oh yeah, Gambit's dead. We get that wink, like we know something's gonna happen.
I think he's dead.
We don't feel like
and
this
if
is
he
permanent.
and if like when he comes back, it's going to have to be something along the lines of like, because we saw people die in the original too. I mean, we saw Xavier die in an alternate timeline, at like
in the future or something like that.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Storm and Wolverine in that one timeline.
Yeah, where they were
and
married.
Their happiest life. They could be there now.
Storm had her short king.
I love him.
Yeah, but no.
You all would have just let the Sentinel apocalypse happen. They could be happy, but no, you all will live. You selfish asshole.
Only opportunity for Wolverine to be happy.
The only opportunity.
Gambit for sure died at the end of that because, Rogue held him and she's like, I'm finally able to touch you, but I'm not, there's no life to set.
Right.
But yeah, he's coming back. He's going to come back via cable interference.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like
something.
That's what to me, what they're hinting at the most, right? Is like this Cable who has come back through time at an hour earlier, really. Just
he can't really control it.
Okay, well, let's work on that technology.
Sometimes he time travels by accident. It happens to all men.
It's true. You can't control it.
He just can't get his watch up.
I can't get my space cube to do what I want it to do, okay? Sometimes it talks back to me.
Sometimes I just blast off when I do, and that's when it was supposed to happen. So
sometimes when I'm nervous, the computer cube just goes off, okay? I mean, it seems like he's going to come back and be like, oh, no, I'll fix this. So I guess, but I don't know the rules of time travel in animated X-Men universe.
Well.
But in theory, that would create like a branch timeline, right? If Cable comes back and is able to prevent...
No, not
unless it was a Nexus event that was supposed to happen.
Right.
Yeah, but
it seems for X-Men, it's supposed to happen.
But in original X-Men, it never created... This idea of branch timelines...
Because it deleted the timeline that Storm...
It rewrites it, essentially. Which is what happens when Bishop goes back. In Cable's time, he's like, what the hell is going on? And his watch is like, history is being rewritten. And he's like, no.
It's a little Back to the Future where you can see it happening.
Yeah, but it does. But the fact that Cable says like, oh no, not again, to me indicates he has tried to prevent this before. And at some point he will possibly be... I mean, listen, in the comics, there's like people that have the power to resurrect. There's also like time travel. There's any number of ways.
There's also like, almost like Dr. Manhattan, like I just appeared again. Like I put myself back together.
Yeah.
My consciousness was out there and it formed itself into a being.
Bishop's skeleton shows up outside a fence and screams for 39 seconds.
I mean, like, we'll talk about it maybe a little later, but like Onslaught is a character who's like created by merging two minds together and then forms itself into a being.
Also, the fact that we started this series with Bishop and haven't seen him in a while makes me think it's one of those things that, like, remember he exists. Now we want you to forget about him until he shows up and does something major.
So speaking of that, so I didn't know, or is this a new thing, that Nathan, the baby, is Cable?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's always a thing in the comics and everything?
Yes.
Yeah,
and in the original series, they don't, like, explicitly say it, but there is a moment where Jean Grey, the actual Jean Grey, like looks into his mind because she's like, who's this like weird time travel guy? And she sees Cyclops and a woman who looks like her. And she's like, what the fuck? But like, she never tells anyone. She's never like, hey, by the way, I looked at that dude's brain and like, it seems like maybe we're his parents. She's just sort of like, I don't know what this means. I'm going to try and forget about it for a while. But that was like laying the groundwork. And also there's a later episode where Cable's computer is like, let me tell you about the X-Men. Here's this person. Here's Cyclops. He's like, nah. I know all about him and Jean Grey. Move along. So they were like laying the groundwork to be like, hey, if you read the comics, you know what we're doing, but we're never going to explicitly say it. But he has always been Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers' kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tough stuff for old Nathan. Here's another way.
He found his mommy.
Here's another way that like
before she was vaporized.
You could bring back. It's true.
At least I don't have to buy a Mother's Day present.
This time around.
What if he came back? They don't have Mother's Day in the future. And he comes back, Mother's Day? I don't want to deal with this. Computer cube now. I can't go right now. Oh! Think of something sexy.
The timing is off.
They also introduced in this episode, reintroduced to the series, Moira McTaggart, who is heavily involved in the comics Krakoa Storyline.
Yeah.
Now, Moira McTaggart was in the original series, animated series, but in this newer comics Krakoa thing, they've kind of established that she is a mutant who, when she is killed, she is like reborn as herself at the same time with all the memories of her previous life. It kind of creates a new universe every time she dies.
That's a dope power. I would love that.
I don't know. A lot of pressure. Living through those baby years again is like real frustrating. Like,
especially when you know.
Let's speed this up. Let's speed this up. She does that multiple times, and through those multiple lifetimes is able to find a way to lead Charles to the point of creating Krakoa and like rebirthing mutants, which involves like 5 mutants known as the Five. one of which has been not explicitly mentioned, but referenced on this show. Gold balls. When Jubilee first met Roberto, and she was like, "Do you make gold balls?" There's a mutant known as Gold Balls, also known as Egg, who could create gold balls. That's what he does. But he's involved with the Five, and him, and along with Moira McTaggart's son, Proteus, and 3 other people, Elixir, Tempest, and Hope Summers, are able to, when a mutant dies, they make a new body, they grow it up. They put its powers back into it, and through Cerebro, put it like all its mental memories back into it, and they're reborn. That seems like a lot to try and introduce on this show.
I mean, you never know.
But they're really flirting with it. They are doing a lot on
also,
this show.
we already, like, Proteus was introduced in the original series. He was extremely powerful.
Yes, he can rewrite reality.
Yeah. Pretty much. And he's the only one that, like, he, like, really mentally fucked up Wolverine. And Wolverine was like, no. Now I have like terrible memories of what you did to me. So he's very powerful.
Yeah.
We know he already exists. We know he's been spending time trying to master his powers because he was like a little bratty bitch when we saw him last. Like he was like, no, he's like a 14-year-old. It was like,
he was.
Where's my dad?
I looked at the wiki. Like he was kind of left with Banshee to train him, and we saw Banshee in this.
Also
we
got
saw Banshee get wiped out.
Every time Banshee is introduced in any media, they're like, hey, we can kill this guy, right? Yeah, let's have him get obliterated by a blast of X-Men Apocalypse.
I was going to say he's got a target on his back, but he's kind of got like a half target already with his little...
with his wings.
That's true.
Kind of like a little target, but like...
Yeah, they killed him unceremoniously in the X-Men movies, too. They just like showed a picture of him dead, and they're like, Banshee's... who knows?
You think does the actor still get paid for that? If they shot scenes as Banshee died?
Oh, yeah, if they used his likeness.
And they still just used his image? You think he gets paid? Just the day rate. Just the day rate.
Justice for Banshee.
He's also like Moira's love interest too, so she's probably gonna be sad.
She's gonna be sad. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna get it because they're done with the Krakoa stuff in the comic books. Now this show was written 2 years ago, when Krakoa was still going pretty strong, and it seemed like that's where it was going to be for a while. So I don't know if they're like, well, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
And now the comics are changing. It's
they got a lot of comics going on. They got Life Death. They got there's like a lot.
They're telling a lot of stories from the comics already, and we know that like they're taking some inspiration from like modern day comics too. They've hinted that like we could see some more of that. So I don't know exactly what method they're gonna go with here to bring back Gambit, but I have a strong feeling they're gonna bring back Gambit. Something we didn't mention yet, but I think could play a part here too, is the Phoenix Force. Because I think some of the mind stuff we saw going on with both Madeline and Jean Grey is maybe related to the Phoenix. That they have not. They've mentioned the Phoenix. They've shown it in the opening credits.
Yeah.
But like that's something where I'm like, they want to surprise us again with a little Phoenix action or something.
Yeah. Like the Phoenix Force could be like, this is sort of my thing is resurrecting shit. So
I'm bored.
I think however they do it, it's going to be time travel related. I think the fact that Cable showed up, the fact that said, no, not again, he's coming, I'm sorry, Mom. But like wasn't like like I think at some point something changed and like the computer was like, hey Cable, like your mom just died in a big explosion. And he was like, wait, what? And like he's been trying to sort of find a way to fix it. I also think Bishop is going to help him. We saw in the original series that Bishop at some point gets to like the nexus outside of time and hangs out with who turns out to be Immortus. So he's like has been outside of time before he knows that's a place that exists. I think that these two dudes working together could just be like, hey, should we save 16 million mutants from dying? Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
I got nothing else going on today.
Yeah, all right.
A couple of nice guys. What do you think?
What do I think? I think everyone's going to be resurrected via magic. No, I'm playing. I think time travel. I think Cable's going to mess around with some stuff. Bishop. I think they're with their forces combined, like Captain Planet, they're going to figure this out and bring back Gambit and like all the X-Men and mutants we're interested in seeing.
I hope if they do, they get like a lot of fruit baskets. Like I hope a lot of people who came back to life are like, thanks for
as a thank you.
Here's
everyone sends them edible arrangements.
Yeah, they're like, oh God. I'm so much
no more
tired. Nothing but fruit for 2 weeks.
I mean, Owusu, we saw him for like a hot second too. Do you think he'll be involved, or he was just? I think that was just like a fun little like.
I think it was a fun little Easter egg.
Because he knew some shit was about to pop up.
Yeah,
I gotta watch this.
He's always there.
His eyes were closed, Brandon.
They weren't closed. That was just some dramatic shading.
His eyes were closed.
Why would he's named?
I'm too tired to watch.
Watcher.
Too tired to watch this massacre.
He said, "I'm gonna rest my eyes for a little."
Why would they show him with his eyes closed?
Oh, what did I miss? What did I miss?
The Watcher. What? Did I sleep through
I
it?
can't bear to watch. Before we get to our last question about Captain America's shield, Phantom in the chat is pretty adamant that they won't bring anyone back this season. They think that it might be too much of a retcon to undercut like the kind of emotional attachment or emotional stakes that this episode created. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree that, especially because we know that season 2 has already been written and was sort of written very soon after. Like, they already knew they were getting 2 seasons. Right. I do think it's possible that it'll be in season 2. I think they're coming back no matter what. I agree that it might not be this season.
Yeah. I hope they have the patience to wait it out a little bit and like let's live in this reality.
Yeah.
See Magneto get angry. See him like gain power.
I do know that Lenorzon, voice of Rogue, tweeted like, "It's very sad, but now Rogue's story really begins." Ooh. And so I think she's gonna get something meaty to do in the next few episodes. I also know that like Bo DeMeo tweeted that like he was like, "This is just a warm up for some shit that's going down," and that his personal gut punch favorites are episodes 8 through 10.
Fun.
Yeah.
It's a lighthearted cartoon.
Yeah.
I know.
We're all gonna be destroyed.
I've never cried so much in my Fruity Pebbles watching the cartoon. Yeah, I think they might stay dead till episode 10, and then they'll come back and But there's so many more stories to tell.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the Ricardo, what's his name?
Yeah, Sunspot.
Roberto.
Yeah, Roberto and Jubilee, Motendo episode. That was really cool, like kind of one-off.
Well, next we're getting more life, death, so we'll get to see that story continue. I'm excited. And where's Mystique? Where's Mystique?
Where is
Somewhere.
it? Is she cooking?
Mystique? Is she cooking? Well, before we get to more of our audience questions, we need to talk about Captain America's shield, baby. If you didn't see it, they put out a clip today, kind of like a halfway through. Here's the rest of the season, titled War. Ooh. What a fun, lighthearted show.
Great for the kids.
Yeah, and it seems like people are getting angry. And there's a quick shot in the trailer of a yellow boot standing in the snow outside of a cabin and come flying into frame and hitting the ground. Captain America's shield. And it looks like maybe scratches on it. Maybe we were thinking it could be like blood and they blacked it out because they're like black scratches. Oh. It could be maybe blood streaks, but they made them black for YouTube so it wouldn't scare kids or I don't think they're worried about monetization. Why would they do that?
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
Yeah, have they heard of the show Invincible?
Yeah, have they heard of that show? But we were trying to guess whose boot it was. Maybe Cyclops. He's got yellow booties.
Yeah.
Forge's 1 foot, I feel like, is usually in a yellow boot.
I think it could also be
Rogue.
the character we haven't seen
It
before.
could be.
The character that would make the most sense is Wolverine, because in the original series, that was the Captain America episode, was them back like working together.
Yeah, because they had a Captain America
whole
cameo.
episode.
Yeah,
they had a cameo, but then like a whole episode after that. They had a cameo on a little computer screen where it was like cycling through like mutants and things like that. But then in the later season, season 4 or season 5, there was like great like Wolverine going to his old buddies like who's just died like war memorial. There's like a group of like old like veterans and they're like, "You look just like a guy that I used to serve with. You could be his grandson." And then Wolverine flashes back to the war when like a guy's like, "I'm partnering you up with someone," and then like Captain America shows up and he's like, "Hey there, buddy." That's the entire episode. I just recapped it for you. It's not, but yeah, it was a delight to see like the two of them working together. So this could be another flashback episode. It could be that in this like animated world, Captain America is still alive, and if they are recruiting people for a war, maybe Wolverine's like, "I got just the guy for the job. He loves war."
Some would say he was built for it.
It's all about it.
That's true. He does love war.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if it's not Captain America, like it's someone who has the shield for whatever
reason. Or
reason.
it's like a dinner plate set that someone had made that looks like Captain America's shield.
Juggernaut
could
was
be
eating out
that.
of it.
Not my good china.
Could be a couple crazy raccoons that got into some paint and a trash can lid.
It's a kid going sledding. He goes, "Ooh, my sled.
Whoop, my sled. Logan's like, I took his head off.
I'm not gonna lie. I
got PTSD.
would actively love it if it has nothing to do with Captain America, and they're like, let's put this in the YouTube.
Oh,
thing.
the hubcap.
Lose their minds
to throw us off.
Yeah.
It's Mephisto all over again.
Really quick, Adjenorio10 responded on Instagram to my call out for questions.
Oh, okay.
Which episode do you think that we'll get this shot? Is that a finale thing? Is this?
Oh.
We've got 5 episodes left, and the last 3 episodes seem like they're a multi-part finale. Yeah. Is that something for that, or do you think that that's kind of like a red herring, and we'll get it before that series?
I bet it's. Well, I don't know.
I would buy that whatever the Captain America episode is sort of a filler episode.
Yeah. So
I bet we'll get it either this next episode or the episode after as a sort of, because I think it would be crazy to end the series with like, hey, here's like a whole a character that doesn't really have anything to do with the characters you really are here to see.
Right.
I think they'll treat it more like a sort of cameo in one of the next couple episodes, which seem like after this gut punch of an episode, they'll probably be like, no, let's let him cool off a little bit. Let's do one where Jubilee goes dancing.
Yeah, it's prom. It's prom at the Xavier School.
And then everyone at the prom almost dies again.
Yeah. Mutants can't have prom. Who spiked the punch?
Omega level teen identified.
You're too close to each other. 6 inches in between the bodies.
Save room for Jesus.
Your parents have to be here by 10:30.
What's in your water bottle?
Oh, in the water bottle.
Let us smell.
We've got lots more questions.
It's a nice tangent.
We've got lots more questions about this episode, but first we want to thank our friends over at nerdriot.shop. We've got a ton of X-Men inspired merch up on the shop right now, including this little shirt.
Hell yeah.
When they landed out of their plane, Evan's holding up a hoodie version.
Oh, I want
There's also this Storm shirt you can get. I hear there might be some other designs coming soon. So our Xavier Institute shirt. Tons of merch up on the channel, not just for X-Men 97, but for all sorts of fandoms. And keep an eye out for some Breakroom merch that I keep saying is coming soon, but I'm never told when it'll be.
I just linked the rest of the new Rockstars office to the merch video that I've been cutting away in my little Steenbeck office.
Yeah, our little Christopher Nolan over there.
Cutting film strip, all practical effects.
All practical.
Whirling LED bulbs, And
we were told we can't do anything till he's done.
Because he's an artisan. Look at him go.
A little Wes Anderson over there. Little Martin Scorsese.
let's just keep swiping through to see how many filmmakers Brandon knows.
Yeah.
Little Spike Lee over there.
Any ladies over there?
I was struggling.
Little Greta Gerwig over there.
I know the one.
James Cameron's ex-wife.
Ava DuVernay over there. George Lucas's wife, who's an editor.
Amy Heckerling. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Boom. Clueless. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Check it all out over at nerdriot.shop.
All right, let's hit some audience questions.
Yeah.
There is a lot between Instagram and Twitch. Yeah. There is no shortage of things here. Jeffrey Actor asks, what hit Gene and Madeline? So we talked a little bit about this on the break room yesterday, but Eric and Gina, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. It seems like they've gotten these visions. What do you think?
Oh.
Yeah.
What hit Gene and Madeline? Fucking Scott.
Hey.
Oh my God!
With his penis.
We understand.
Yes.
I know I didn't get it.
That's why it was a beam. It came through their heads. It was just the whole. No.
We got it.
Scott, I told you to stop doing that.
Scott!
Not on the face.
She was mad as fuck that he was telepathily connected with her.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
With her?
Behind my back? In front of my salad? Yeah. Anyway. I love that reference. I love that you got it. I think it might be Apocalypse. I think it might be Apocalypse because she had that vision earlier in the season where she had the baby and there was like some monstrous thing. People think that was Mr. Sinister. I think it's Apocalypse. I think Apocalypse was
in that vision we found out that like you can hear the song, the Ace of Base song that was playing in episode 5. You can hear it in episode 1 during that vision, and Cable says like, no, I'm sorry, or I was too late, or not again. That's what that weird little ghost dirt
ghost,
monster thing said. So really weirdly tied into that, like, she's having a vision of the future, but like, also someone's invading her mind, and that was all tied to Sinister. But I agree, like, sorry, because they showed Apocalypse in like the opening credits, fighting Cable, and if Apocalypse is doing something in the future to affect the past.
I think the fact that Jean, when she's like Mosesing that water, the fact that she says to Wolverine to remind the audience, like, remember that psychic bond Scott and I used to share? I think that this is her, like, that this is their kids, Nathan, aka Cable, and Rachel Summers, sending them trying to like send them each a warning, which is why one was pink and one was blue. And I think that this was like, oh yes, they Jean and also Madeline share a psychic connection with people they love deeply. And when we were reminded of that, and this is them from the future still linked to their mamas, being like, no, mommy, run, mommy, go.
Well, just give her a bloody nose.
Mommy, sorry about the bloody nose, but no, you gotta go.
So yeah, this cartoon shows blood. It comes out of the nose and nowhere else.
I mean, it could be
also a little dribble in the mouth when Gambit's dead.
Yeah,
oh, that's right. That's right.
Dead. And Kurt had some blood on him too. I do think, I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, this could be maybe the Phoenix Force. Because like in the comics, Madeline Pryor is kind of like visited by the Phoenix Force when it's looking for Jean. Yeah. And Jean's like, get out of here. And the Phoenix Force is like, wait, you also look like Jean Grey. Quack, quack. I'm going to go inside you. Quack, quack. That's what Scott said. Quack, quack.
Hey, yo.
So I don't know if this is like the Phoenix Force trying to reach out and like is confused by the two brains and is like, what? And freaking out. Or something to do with Sinister again. This time, when she had that vision, when Madeline had the vision, there was the rats, and we were trying to figure out the rats. Maybe tied to Apocalypse is sort of like a pestilence thing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, to me, like rats mean Sinister, but we've already seen Sinister, so it wouldn't be that much of a reveal to be like, oh,
still
the
fucking
big
with their
bad
heads.
is Sinister. It's like, we already
It seems like they want you to think it's something else.
Yeah, I mean, we are obviously seeing Apocalypse at some point.
Yeah, so. I mean, he's such a classic big bad for this show.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also consider Onslaught. Now, Onslaught is a character that was invented like in the 90s, or maybe the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. So at one point when like Magneto is in his thing, he's angry, he rips all the adamantium off of Wolverine's bones. And Professor X is like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's gross.
What's wrong with
That's
you?
just gross.
He's like, that's so fucking mean. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So he is like, fuck this guy. And he gets into Eric's mind and he's like trying to be like, I got to put away all this badness that's in his mind. And he kind of like encounters like all of Magneto's trauma, and it bonds with like Professor X's brain, and then kind of like creates this new being that eventually becomes Onslaught. He creates this armor that looks like Magneto's, but it's all like fucking 90s out, like it's Spawn. I think this feels like a Todd McFarlane like Spawn wannabe kind of thing. Sorry, apologies to everyone if that offended anybody. It was the time, it was the 90s, it was crazy. But that Onslaught is like a super powerful telepath. Like can go up against Franklin Richards, can go up against big bads. And in the comics, like he basically pulls Jean into the astral plane and is like, I'm here. You're gonna have to deal with me now. And he tries to show Jean that like, look, Professor X has like darkness inside of his mind too. All that kind of stuff. I bring all that up because we know in the cartoon, they famously like to joke about it. Like Charles made Eric remember the Holocaust at one point, right? He was like, hey, you're being an asshole. Let me remind you of who you are. If they're saying like that's the moment in this show that is gonna lead to Onslaught, like that's when he could have been created. And now, amongst everything else that's going on, now Onslaught's here to be like, hey, I'm here to fuck shit up too. So, and Onslaught was like a big villain in the comics, constantly creating problems, very powerful, very hard to stop. So that this could be like Onslaught showing up, because maybe they want to bring that into this show.
Yeah.
Because that was like a very 90s thing, and like,
we
know these writers love like the deep lore of like X-Men comics.
that is true. I think that like they're doing a combo of playing into the nostalgia and introducing some new stuff. So I still think Apocalypse is going to play a huge role because he played such a big role in the original series. So I think it's more likely it's going to be Apocalypse. And then in later seasons, once they've got us hooked, then they'll throw everything at us.
Do you think it's an Apocalypse from the future, or is it like I don't remember where
Apocalypse
we left Apocalypse
has no
in the
time.
show.
He is everywhere.
Well, but he's in space a lot, right? But isn't he also just like vibing in the ground or something, and like someone has to go wake him up at some point?
Yeah, he's in his like Lazarus chamber. I mean, the last time we saw him, he was like he needed a host body to revive. They wanted to use Jubilee at some point. So yeah, I mean, he's eternal. He's all knowing. He's always doing something.
Jubilips? That's combining Jubilee and
Apocalypse.
They just had in the Krakoa storyline at one point Rogue like absorbs Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And she like gets his like face markings and she looks like a juggalo.
It was 90s.
It was very
like
no. This happened a few years ago.
Oh.
It's very weird and it looks strange.
Yeah. She always does look strange whenever she takes on physical
appearance.
Like,
it's always a little kooky.
Nathan W980 asking on Instagram, what is Mr. Sinister's master plan? Is he still the main villain? I do think it's interesting that leading up to this, we heard a lot that Sinister was going to be the main villain, but this show has really not set up anything like that, right?
Well, and I think a lot of that
mutants as a concept in the world, right?
Yeah.
So I have a theory, and it will probably be wrong, but I think there's two possibilities for who destroyed Genosha, and it's basically like someone who hates mutants or someone who's like trying to garner sympathy for mutants, basically.
A false flag, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And I mentioned this to Eric Voss, and he likened it to Ozymandias having this giant squid alien to unite humanity. I think that, like, knowing that this moment of Genosha, this is like when Obama was, like...
Are you about to accuse Obama of some black flag operation?
No, I'm saying, like, this moment where, like, you know, the people who aren't in support of mutants see mutants getting their own, like joining the UN and being happy. I think it was what like would radicalize people the way that like when Obama was voted in, like a certain section of people were like, this is now I'm angry.
Yeah, it made them more angry.
I think like if people had seen mutants being happy, that could have been when people were like started poisoning the corn syrup like they do for Logan and wiping out mutants. And so someone was like, oh, if we show dead mutants on the 5 o'clock news, a dead mutant kid, that'll garner sympathy for them and they'll be allowed to exist. So I think it's possible that that in the future, mutants were basically wiped out, which doesn't vibe with what Sinister is always trying to do, which is create a perfect race of humans based on very strong mutant DNA. So maybe he was like, I'll kill everyone on Genosha. People will be watching on the news and they'll be like, oh no, I really hated mutants, but now that I saw a dead mutant kid on the news, I'm in support of them again. And to avert that future, and then it like, you know, like I think that then that would make sense that Sinister is the big bad, that he's like, hey, at some point everyone hated mutants, but now since I killed a lot of them, like the other ones thrived.
Do you think, are you saying he's doing it in a way that like, he's doing it on purpose because he knows that it'll like put everyone on his side? Or on the side of
mutants. Yeah, I think, like, I mean, if history has shown us anything, it's like when people are given rights, there is a faction that is like,
no, take it away.
No. And I think, like, this could have been a big turning point where the Friends of Humanity were like, oh, man, before we were just, like, hunting individual mutants, now we hate them all.
And we have, like, Sentinel Tech. And
and they'd, really went hard at it. And so if Genosha was allowed to thrive and mutants were allowed to be seen, like, you know, becoming rich and owning property, they went in and massacred them. There was a reason why, like, you know, people were sort of likening this episode a little bit to like Tulsa, and you know, like it's they were seeing mutants get rights and weren't happy about it. And I think if in the future this was the turning point where people like deliberately started targeting mutants in a very specific way, like they did in Logan, they started poisoning the food so that you wipe out the mutant gene, and then Sinister doesn't have any mutants to do experiments on anymore. He could have gone back and been like, yeah, I'll wipe out some to save the rest.
I wonder too if it could be a scenario of like, mutants getting wiped out as like some weird nexus point, and Sinister is like, I will control when that happens. Like if I do it now, it stops it from happening in the future by someone else. And it'll be because of me, then that's done, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Or it could also be like,
doing my weird experiment.
Yeah, oh, look, now there's a bunch of mutant parts everywhere.
Yeah,
blood on the ground.
Yum.
Ooh,
I'm gonna gather up the dead bodies.
How sinister of me.
Make a smoothie.
I need more white makeup for my face. It's running.
All right, so moving away from the villain talk, Connor Kent 616 asking, Connor Kent 616 asking, when do you guys think Charles will come back? Eric, thoughts?
Ooh, Charlie Charles. I think good old bald Chuck will make his return in the back half of this season. I think in the next 5 episodes or so, we're gonna see Charles.
Oh, you think in the next 5 episodes?
Yeah.
Of which we only have 5 more episodes?
Yes. I said what I said. No, I think they're gonna bring, especially.
And not just a flashback, like a full current time.
He's gonna wheel in and he's gonna get this thing like.
I mean, I would love it to be like episode 9, and we get some of him in episode 10. I have a feeling it'll be like the end of episode 10.
I think is the more badass move. If it's like, oh god, we like really did it, we survived our worst thing, and then like, but we like look at how much we've lost, and then he's like, hi guys, is dinner on?
I think I joked about it at the beginning of the season. Yeah, like a Shi'ar ship lands, he comes walking down, upright, full head of hair. He's like, I'm feeling great, everybody. Oh, what happened? No.
Where is that? Where's
the babies?
I've been gone a year.
What happened? I told you to fix it.
You guys fucked things up this badly?
Yeah. There's no way that like Magneto is pulling the strings of all this.
I realize that's a theory, and I think it's absolutely possible for the same reasons I just said.
But he wouldn't do something like
But that would be a real.
Yeah.
I think it does really go. That goes against his like beliefs. Right?
Unless he was like, Mystique, I want you to make something bad happen. Don't tell me any details. Don't tell me what's gonna happen. Surprise me. Don't tell me who you are.
I will say a lot of people point out that that there's a moment in the episode when Magneto says something about how he wants like he wants his queen. He's talking like someone says to Val, it's Rogue, and Val's face is like, what? And people are like, that's her mom.
Very interesting.
That's Mystique, because Mystique is Rogue's mom.
Because Val was also like on the ground being like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And so people go.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense if that's Mystique. It would make sense for her to be like, oh crap, my daughter. You're gonna make my daughter your queen, you sick fuck.
Because it makes me think that Mystique is like, Val or Gyrick or Bolivar Trask in some weird fucked up way to like. Either, because Mystique has her own means and her own.
I mean, originally she was working for Apocalypse. She'll do what needs to get done.
But she can't mimic powers, right? Just appearance.
No, just appearance and the appearance of powers, but like she can make Wolverine's claws, right? But they're just her.
I want to get through a few more Twitch questions here too.
We got carried away.
Anne-Marie C1018 asking, could we be heading towards a Nexus event that will bring Xmen 97 into live action? What do you think about that?
I mean, the tough thing is,
I would love it.
Yeah, we know it's tough. We know they have 3 seasons of the show they're gonna do. So like, if that's gonna happen, there's no way you bring them into live action, but then like still have the animated show going.
I don't know. Right? I mean, I do think since Deadpool has its own rules, it would be very cool if something if you reference something from the animated series.
Yeah, I guess it's just very complicated, and like people talk about this with Into the Spider-Verse and stuff. Like, bring this Miles Morales into live action, which I'm all for, like live action Miles Morales, but like don't make the animated one like have to be like
contingent on the real life.
Yeah, like let them be separate. Like I think the rules of like an animated universe are more fun. Let them stay animated. I know that's like James Gunn has even kind of said, right, with the upcoming DC universe, that like, the animated shows, they can be like live action too, like they can cross over. And like Marvel has hinted they want to do that too. And again, we kind of saw it with Captain Carter. It's not the same exact same version, but it's like that character. And we were all kind of waiting for Jeffrey Wright to show up as a Uatu in something.
Yeah. That's
true. Running down all those options.
I mean, he might in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, that's like the best option.
I think if anything's gonna happen, it's gonna be in Deadpool and Wolverine, because that's the one where it's like you can retcon whatever you want from that universe. Yeah.
I mean, I'm really loving these characters a lot. I don't want them to try and like make a live action version. Like do new mutants, Not
New Mutants.
But do a new version of these mutants. Show us like something new with them that hasn't been done.
I mean, I've seen a lot of chatter that's like you can now be based on how good this show is. How can you ever make another live action X-Men movie because everyone's going to be comparing it to this?
They're just going to choose all the mutants that have like non-visual powers.
Yeah, or like that we haven't seen
about
anymore.
Forge building stuff.
Remember this hairy guy?
Yeah, remember Harry Man?
That girl that looks like a lizard?
I think the only way they'll do it is to cast Jeremy Allen White as the new Wolverine. I think that's the only way
I want a
it'll
short
work.
Wolverine, baby.
Oh yeah, he's the short king.
Yeah, he is. Very short.
Is. He's very short.
Very short.
Even when they were in the lake, I mean, I think they were at different levels and. Jean's flying, but she's even even higher than him.
I saw Jeremy Allen White at my farmer's market a couple weeks ago. He's carrying a bunch of flowers, and he was very short.
Yeah.
Still jacked though.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty short.
Still short, still jacked.
Let's see. This is a fun one from Short Stackham. I know Wolverine is a fan favorite, but I like that he's been a background character.
Hell yeah.
Have you guys felt about the balance of the different characters from the animated series?
Brandon and I were literally talking about this morning because
so much Wolverine in the live action.
Yeah, a lot of Wolverine. I think that the fact that Hugh Jackman was so good and people loved him so much meant that they were like, yeah, let's do individual Wolverine stories. Let's put him in everything. And I think especially this version of Wolverine is best in little doses like we've gotten him. So I love it. I think that everyone has gotten a little bit to do.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like the Beast heavy episode. They haven't really done too much with Beast. Bishop has kind of been background. Morph obviously has kind of been background.
I mean, truly everyone is sort of like getting just a little bit, which I like because I do think like standalone episodes are for later once you've seen everyone and gotten invested in everyone. If you do a standalone episode in like the first 3 episodes, you're like, I don't care. Like,
I don't know this
care about this person.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't done like just like Roberto Costa running around being like, I'm not gonna ever show my powers.
Yeah,
like, great, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You're boring me. I want to see some fighting. I want to see some action. But yeah, I do like the balance, and I'm very happy it has a bit like heavy Wolverine.
Yeah.
But we'll get it. He's coming.
He's coming. Yeah. Last 3 episodes, all in the
Yeah.
next 5, right? In the next 5.
Yeah. In the next 5, we'll see a lot more Wolverine.
It's gonna be a lot of slash.
A lot of slash. Okay, last question here from Malishka. What major X-Men character besides Mystique do you think we will see in the remaining episodes that we haven't seen yet?
Ooh,
if you all had to
that's a
pick
good
one mutant, it could be.
Is this like we think we'll see, or like we'd love to see?
Interpret it.
That's a
One of
great
both?
one.
How about one of each?
I'm immediately going Colossus.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because he showed up in the original a lot. We saw magic. We saw like morph into magic briefly. I think we've seen most of the original characters from the original series, and he's the one we haven't even gotten a glimpse of, right? Like
Morph and Mystique. I'm like, where are Colossus and Mystique?
Colossus
like,
and
where
Mystique.
are these?
We're definitely going to see Mystique. I think throw Colossus in there at some point, and we're gonna get him. And I can't wait for that thick Russian accent.
I do think we'll see Apocalypse. I think you're right though. Like Apocalypse has got to show up. I would love to see. I want to see some like. I would love to see like Omega Red, like a fun weird character like that.
If we see Colossus, we're definitely seeing Omega Red.
I mean, they already had Spiral. Like we got to see the multi-arm Spiral and Mojo. Like I didn't think we'd see Mojo in the first 4 episodes.
Skinny Mojo.
Yeah. So give me Omega Red, babe. I love Omega Red.
We're pro-Soviet Union over here.
Anything for Mother Russia.
I want to see tentacles wrapped around the necks of these dead X-Men.
The last time we saw him, he was on the bottom of the ocean in the original series in like a nuclear submarine, and he was just like still alive and can live there forever. So at some point he's gonna be like, I'm bored.
I'm tired of playing
Punch my way up to the
here.
top of the sea.
He's gonna rope onto Namor and just ride him like a dolphin. Get over here, filthy mutant. I will ride you out of ocean.
Yeah.
So you said rope onto Namor and. Boy.
Hey, you're the filthy one, dude. I'm just speaking English.
Ride him like a dolphin.
I'm speaking English, the King's English. I
think there's a curveball for y'all. The mutant that I think is going to pop up is Quicksilver. Because he popped up a lot in the old series.
Yes.
And I think
we did see him on the little 6-bit or 16-bit poster in
That's
the
true.
video game. We
But
saw Wanda.
I think that's a good bet.
Quicksilver would be a good one.
Yeah, it's just
Especially like, I mean, now that Magneto's dead, it would make sense if like his kids are like,
Faja.
What'd we
He's
miss?
not dead. How dare you say Magneto?
No, but I mean, if he has a big funeral, like
Nobody, no crime.
the twins might show up and be like, well, we didn't really know he was our dad until about 3 years ago, but we still are.
Magneto's alive. I saw him whisper to Leech when he was crying. Leech is crying. He's like, "Don't worry, this is all a ruse."
It's not the first time I fed Dad. Don't worry about it.
I set this up. I'm gonna take over. I'm gonna kill him.
I got warrants.
Steel doesn't melt at this temperature. It's a false flag.
Listen. Rogue was bugging, and you know she was about to break up with me, so I pulled this whole thing so she couldn't break up with me. I'm just saying.
I've still never been broken up with.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
You see this tight ass bodysuit I'm wearing?
Hold on, let me rip this a little bit more. Okay. Well, I think we've answered every question we have about this show so far. Yeah. So we'll call it there. That's it for us today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel right here on YouTube and give us a follow on Twitch where we do these videos live. Eric Owusu, where can they find you on the internet?
Hey, internet. I'm all over the place. Catch me on Instagram, eric.kay.owusu. I'm on Twitter, @OwusuKid. And I'm in your closet right now. I'm peeking at you.
Whoa.
You're supposed to be working from home.
Christ.
I'm peeking at you. I see you. I see what you're doing. Get that out of your hand.
Oh, no.
Half the audience is scared and the other half is intrigued.
How did he know?
How did he know? How does he know? Well, that's it. Check us you can follow us at Breakroom NR on Instagram, Twitter, or X if you're crazy, and Threads. Follow us on Threads. Are you still posting on
Remember
Threads?
that exists?
Every now and then, yeah.
Really?
Threads, it's just me, Tom Michelson, and the Breakroom account.
Right.
It's just the three of us.
That's the big three.
And the Beyond Meat account. Go follow the Beyond Meat account. They're so funny.
Great. Well, we'll catch you next time, X-Men. Laters.
Shing, shing.
Bye.
Bye.